What's up, everybody? We're back for another episode of Left Black. We're going to be doing this one live. I'm going live on YouTube, on Kick, on Twitch as well. This one it's a little bit more intense than the last couple of months that I've been doing. I'm just really trying to get out there and just see what it's talking about. See what a lot of the current events. There's so much going on in so many different aspects. I'm really just trying to go ahead and switch it up a little bit. So I got a few things lined up here. We're going to go through a lot of stuff. All right. So yeah, it's very I don't want to say convenient, but I definitely want to say necessary for the war machine. We've been able to calm things down, at least when it comes to our involvement in the Middle East, but it's been really obvious and evident that this whole really it's a debacle. It's a genocide, and there's a cash grab when it comes down to the Israel-Hamas conflict. What they're doing is they're creating a humanitarian crisis in Gaza by doing what they're doing, and it's actually rather atrocious. When I say atrocious, it's because there's tons of atrocities going on. If they're stopping people from getting their relief, their humanitarian aid and whatnot, it gets onto the genocide part of the equation, and it starts to make me worry. I'm really concerned about the Palestinian people who are not members of Hamas, and they do exist. If you look at the stats, too many kids have been killed, and the thing is that kills me. I know Palestinian people. I know a few of them, and they've been talking about this sort of genocidal killings of children and civilians for decades. It gets into the forefront of the news cycle now because there's been a major attack from Hamas, but regular Palestinian people were just living their lives at the time when Hamas did that attack. Regular Palestinian people were being victims of Israeli military IDF forces in their daily life. Like, they're completely nonplussed by the violence, just like the Israeli people are nonplussed by the reaction. But what really happens is they have to look at the capitalistic goals. They're just trying to get money. They're just trying to, look. I hate to say it like this, and I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm friends with Jewish people as well. I'm friends with Israeli people. I believe the IDF needs Hamas to be able to make a few attacks so they can get their military gains. If Hamas were to just do a complete ceasefire and Palestinian people just kept on getting pushed further and further south or towards the water, into the water, just peacefully get pushed into the water, the international community would just whole cloth prosecute Israel, Netanyahu, and the IDF. Seeing as that's not the case, they need a bad guy. It's almost like Scarface said, you need a bad guy. You need somebody you can point the finger at. So that's what I'm reminded of when I see this. And so I just wanted to open up with that first clip. And then now all our patriots, all our parents, all our people waving the American flag, now American lives are at risk because of this money grab going on in Israel. Why do I say it's a money grab? Why do I say this is a part of the money printing machine, part of the what do they call it, the military industrial complex? Why do I say that? Because we don't have enough wars going on to justify billions of dollars being given to Raytheon and Northrop Grumman and Abrams and Boeing and you see where I'm going with this, like the people that make the planes, people that make the missiles, people that make the tanks, people that make the satellite and the bullets, and all these people, they it's a jobs program. There's jobs in this. As a former resident of Aurora, Colorado, one of the biggest employers there was Raytheon. There was a military base, and there was a Raytheon building where tons of people were employed. And guess what? When we're not shooting missiles, Raytheon's doing layoffs. I'm willing to bet they're not laying off right now. This is good for their bottom line. And it's sad to say that in America, people, and we say we're a capitalistic country. In America, we can capitalize on any atrocity. Unfortunately, there's no bottom to our morals. So I'm gonna move on to this next clip real quick. Let's catch me an ad. Oh man, I'm gonna get with Wix though. Now I like The Hill. They tend to be pretty objective. Wow, that's great. Wait, what just happened here? We're gonna get under control, guys. Where's my window capture? This thing is tripping. Playing in my ear, but not playing on the stream. Why is It's playing video with no audio. This is really weird. And this is my fault, guys. I'm going to end up having to pull this. Let's go to settings.
And it seems that Netanyahu is only ramping up his rhetoric. And for the United States to still be sending weapons to Israel is absolutely absurd. What's going on there is a humanitarian crisis. I think sending William Burns there, who's the director of the CIA, to negotiate, hopefully some kind of way forward here. I don't know how successful things are going to be. I'm always wary of CIA directors negotiating for peace. That's usually not what they're good at.
Yeah.
William Burns, as far as CIA directors go, is not as bad as the others in that he condemns torture. So it's a step up from Haspel. But I'm not super confident. Haspel, of course, ran black sites in Thailand where detainees, were tortured. It's just disgusting who we put in power, that their history has usually been using violence as
Overseas, a new attack on a U.S. military base in Iraq, and one of the biggest in the region, is raising concerns about a wider conflict in the Middle East. Raf Sanchez joins us now from Tel Aviv. Raf.
Jose, U.S. Central Command says a number of American service personnel are being evaluated for traumatic brain injury after multiple ballistic missiles and rockets were fired at the Al-Assad air base in western Iraq. Some of those missiles were intercepted, but others did get through, and the military says it is still assessing the damage. The attack was carried out by an Iranian-backed militant group known as the Islamic Resistance, and it's the latest in a string of more than 140 attacks on U.S. bases across the Middle East since the start of the Gaza war. Now, this same air base...
So now what we're looking at is you're looking at one individual, you got one war front. You have Israel and Palestine, right? And it's ballooned into 140 different war fronts. 140. America could easily just say, you know what, guys, we're not really cool with this. We're not going to give you weapons. We're not going to give you, we're not going to give you trade. If you're going to keep on doing what you're doing it. In fact, we're just pulling out. We're pulling out our support. Just in general, because it's looking kind of genocidal. And I'm sorry, I don't know what they think it looks like when people make Nazi references. It looks very genocidal to me. There's a Nazi comparison. It is what it is. It's horrible that people that have had genocide committed against them go commit genocide once they have some very powerful backing, military allies and whatnot. But it is what it is. If you cancel someone for seeing those that ironic nature of what you're doing, then kind of I guess cancel the world. Right? We all got eyes, and the people that don't see the comparison, don't see the connection, they're too far gone. So basically, that was the crux of it. Look, all this started off when Israel started destroying Palestine because look, there was a major attack. Yes, a lot of Israelis were killed, but you've killed more, or you've killed just as many kids, Palestinian children, as you have had total anybody killed in Israel. And then you completely eclipsed that number by the amount of actual adults being killed. And not all those adults could have possibly been Hamas. I think we all are fully aware of that. All right. So it's kind of fallacious to try to compare the two and just say that any Palestinian is a terrorist or that any Palestinian is Hamas. They can't all be Hamas. It just can't be. And if you look at how much they've carpet bombed and indiscriminately bombed and shot so many people, honestly for decades. But even right now during this conflict, the two don't line up. So you've lost the moral high ground, Israel. For a while, you've been able to keep up that farce. You've been able to keep American support, and now even Americans are starting to question your moral high ground. All right, and that's a sad state of affairs. So let's move on to the next story. That's me recapping because I messed up my audio earlier. So I'm gonna leave that in. This was a recording. I could obviously take that out. But this is a live stream, so it is what it is. And thanks for sticking through this. And if you're watching this, if you're watching this later on, thank you for tuning into the channel. Once again, please like, share, subscribe on YouTube, everything, man. Anywhere you're watching, please show people and support the channel. All right.
Attention retirees, if you're willing to be at your computer from 9 a.m. to 10:45.
A rare positive update from the Middle East. Israel and Hamas have reportedly agreed to basic tenets of an agreement that would see all of the Israeli hostages captured on October 7th returned home. Israeli outlet Haaretz reports that the agreement would last 35 days, during which all Israeli hostages will be released in exchange for certain Palestinian prisoners. Israel will also...
Interesting. 35 days. Now, a minute ago, Israel was saying that they were going to need a year. They were going to try to finish the year out of war. What is the goal? You've killed so many Palestinians. What would it take you a year to do? Unless it's the final solution. I think it looks like Israel had their sights set on getting rid of everybody Palestinian, just getting them smooth on out of there and settling those grounds. Which no one has actually made any clear explanation as to why settlements are legal or why settlements are moral in the first place. And then no one's ever made the connection to me for how when you try to push your way to where someone lives, someone's country, someone's neighborhood, someone's home, even why you wouldn't expect deadly force to be levied at you toward you. Even if it's unreasonable, even if they could have diplomatically resisted what you're doing. If I bulldoze someone's house over and kill some family members in the process, I might expect deadly force against me. I'm not supporting any killing of Israelis. Not supporting any prisoners being taken. But this is something that I could have easily foreseen. Now I started watching politics. I want to say 2008, when Obama was about to get elected. And that's when I first started tuning into Democracy Now! And they were showing video footage of Palestinian kids getting blown up at birthday parties on the beach. That it could not have been misconstrued in anyone's world that it was a terrorist organization or anything. Just a bunch of women and children on the beach with balloons and cake and whatnot. And then the footage showed me, multiple Palestinian children laid out dead on the beach. So it's really real over there. So this is nothing taken lightly. And when you just say, you know what, hey, make a part out of bomb Gaza, blah, blah. You're coming from an informed place.
also deliver humanitarian aid to Gaza. One sticking point, however, is Hamas's demand for a total ceasefire in the interim period, which Israel has refused.
Meanwhile, as the war in Gaza causes an internal war within the White House, the Biden administration is attempting to tamp down on dissent among staffers who are pushing the president to pressure Israel into a ceasefire. Staffers angry at an upcoming, quote, morale booster party hosted by the administration released a statement expressing their, quote, disgust at the display of complete apathy towards the lives that have been taken in the region over the last 3 months and claim.
Now, if you just read this sentence, we are disgusted by the display of complete apathy towards the lives that have been taken in the region over the last 3 months. They re-emphasize a ceasefire call and urge a party boycott. Listen, apathy no bueno. We should be discussing apathy to genocides. When you are killing off certain people, if you're killing off your political or military rivals, you're not allowing humanitarian aid to come through. Listen, they didn't do that in World War II, man. That's genocide, man. And that's when the international courts, that's when the Hague, ICJ started to get involved. That's when the UN starts making recommendations and judgments and whatnot. But even before so, you can't be mad at citizens like me. Looking at it and not ruling in your favor in the court of public opinion. At some point, the wool has to come over our eyes. The scale shall be removed.
Claiming, quote, when our children look back on this year and this time, they'll be appalled at the choices made by their forebears. Protesters showed up to disrupt the party. Here's what that looks like.
unfortunately, we have to wait until big wigs, so big names of current day media are covering things in our favor. If they're it doesn't matter how smart they are, how idiotic they are. It only matters how popular they are. So forget me. I'm just Kevin Cox. I'm just some random guy. I'm a leftist, if you will. There's no such thing as global left, but I follow left politics in America. So I'm just some random black leftist. Of course, I just support minorities, right? But hey, look, Joe Biden. I mean, Joe Biden. That was not a forward slip. That was just idiotic slip. Joe Rogan supports the idea that it's getting kind of crazy over there.
And his recent guest, comedian Bobby Lee, discussed the topic on a recent episode of the program. Take a look.
It's insane. It's f***ing insane.
It's going to take over a year to clean up just the rubble.
Oh my God.
But it's like 25,000 now?
At least.
At least.
They don't know how many people are dead. They have no idea.
And just
25,000. Put that in perspective for me, Kevin Cox. I'm born in Houston, Texas, and I grew up in Baytown, Texas. It's about 30 miles east of Houston on I-10. About a 30-minute drive out. Baytown was about 30,000 people in population when I was growing up as a kid. So they're saying 25,000. It's probably 40, right? But let's just call it 30, right? My hometown is dead. On the other side of the world. That's what rings home to me. I just got to make it real for me. But hopefully you guys feel me.
The half of the population is women and children.
and the trauma. And the
half the population being women and children because the adult men have been killed already.
You know, famine. It's just I just can't even comprehend it, really.
Yeah, and the Israelis tell you that it's necessary, and that they have to get rid of Hamas, and this is the way to do it.
I thought that was a very human discussion. Just disgust at the atrocities. The idea that this is self-defense still being pushed by Israel is insane, when we just had Netanyahu last week saying from the river to the sea, it will all be Israel. We don't want a Palestinian state. Members of the Netanyahu administration saying the only thing we have to consider now is where to put all of the people that used to be living in Gaza. What countries will accept them as refugees? It's millions of people. It's just disgusting. The killing is still happening every day. The Gaza Health Ministry reported that 200 Palestinians have been killed in the last 24 hours. 370 have been injured. Israeli forces are currently surrounding Nasser and El Amal hospitals in Khan Yunis. This situation is only getting worse by the day. And it seems that Netanyahu is only ramping up his rhetoric. And for the United States to still be sending weapons to Israel is absolutely absurd. What's going on there is a humanitarian crisis. I think sending William Burns there, who's the director of the CIA, to negotiate, hopefully some kind of way forward here. I don't know how successful things are going to be. I'm always wary of CIA directors negotiating for peace. That's usually not what they're good at.
Yeah.
William Burns, as far as CIA directors go, is not as bad as the others in that he condemns torture. So it's a step up from Haspel. But I'm not super confident. Haspel, of course, ran
Communist. An American condemning torture? Yeah. He must be some liberal. Jesus Christ, is that echo on the stream? The actual echo on the stream? Let me close that. I'm just double checking myself, guys. I'm gonna hop on YouTube and see what it says. No. Yes, there's an echo on the stream. Yeah, this stream is becoming a little bit of a disaster. I'm probably going to end up. Wow, how did I not catch that earlier? Not sure exactly what to do to stop this echo. Why I'm not sure what to do about this is because it's not playing on my speakers to be picked up by my microphone to echo. So that seems like it should be impossible for it to echo. It's playing in Bluetooth in my ear. So the microphone only has me directly to play. Let's see what this does. Does this do something? Yep. That's gonna bring me an echo on here. Is that better? Let's see. I'll turn down those speakers. Let's go back and play some more. So look, guys, this is still a test stream, basically.
And black sites in Thailand where detainees, were tortured. It's just disgusting who we put in power, that their history has usually been using violence as a means to peace, not seeing peace as the goal at first. He was a huge part of the Iran nuclear agreement, so maybe he was a part of this, 30-day ceasefire negotiation.
Yeah, I remember when Gina Haspel was nominated for that position, and it was like everyone was celebrating her as some kind of girl boss. It was such an indictment of just that whole sort of third wave feminist narrative about who we elevated to power, and how identity characteristics are obviously not a determinant of whether or not someone is qualified or should be put into a position. I agree. I thought that Joe Rogan, Bobby Lee conversation was very heartfelt. It seemed like they both acknowledged the atrocities that have occurred, the tragedy that will result from this war inevitably, and also mentioned the fact that there's going to be this sort of generational trauma. And it's something that we don't often account for in terms of our foreign policy, is what is the effect that our actions are going to have on future generations in terms of potentially creating new extremists, new terrorists, because they've lived under this system where they've seen parents, family members killed by outside regimes, whether it's Israel or the United States through the funding of Israel. I've been critical in the past of these White House staffers who have been trying to sort of strong-arm their own version of Israel-Palestine policy over what the president wants, because
Let me go back to that point of you're creating new terrorists. Israel, you're going down the American road. You're taking your cues from American Foreign Policy 101, and we've moved on past that here in America. We kind of tried to stop creating terrorists that want to attack us. We learned from 9/11. Now you've had your version of it, right? Unfortunately, you're learning the hard way. Please learn by watching us. You've had 30 years to watch our foreign policy failures. Why on earth would you do it this way? Don't do it this way. Like, stop killing their kids. That's not going to help you win. You can't win hearts and minds in support of the international community, and you can't win over the court of public opinion while you're massacring Palestinian children. Yeah, they took hostages, but they can return you all of the hostages. All their hostages are fine. All the Jewish hostages have that are being returned, they're saying they've been treated well from everything I've seen. So, guys, history is going to judge you harshly for this one. And, I think a lot of the people, I hate to get into the Zionists thing, or the whatever they call those different people that just follow Israel no matter what. I hate to get off into that. I just want to talk about people that are willing to acknowledge the truth and are objective when it comes to an analysis of if something's right or wrong and what's going on, and looking at the actual facts of it. Like, guys, there's no way to get past the moral failures of bombing an entire population when being attacked by a terrorist group. There's no way to get past blowing up hospitals and killing tons of children. So they've almost gotten to 9/11 levels of just children being killed. So however you felt about how many people total were killed, imagine how they feel when they had that many lost almost just in children. It's getting tough.
I was quite troubled by that.
Show me the Israeli area that looks like that. So look, I'm gonna leave this video for now, because this thing's going long. I'm getting a headache with all the BS I've been dealing with this stream. I'm gonna keep on moving and just continue banging this out. Now, what it ends up coming down to is racism, bigotry, white supremacy even. These Jewish people in Israel, these Israelis are more Europeanized than the Arab people they are killing off, that they're committing genocide against. White supremacy runs nationwide. The lighter the skin, the more European the features, the better they are, because European people have beaten this, raped and murdered and killed this into everyone's heads. Even black people believe the lighter your skin and the straighter your hair and the thinner your nose, the better you look, right? Like, we're barely just now starting to wake up and realize that we're actually beautiful in our own right. So I just want to move on to this next clip.
So my parents...
Hold up. Call me a good old ad, boy.
Therapy, for me, came at a time that was really pivotal. Becoming a new father, I needed more.
Overseas, a new attack on a U.S.
So my parents showed me this chocolate-covered marshmallow treat.
Just pause this damn video. Starting you over, and I'm pausing you. Get the correct format. Wow, check that out. How'd that happen? No idea why that's way over there like that. See if I can fix that real quick. I think I can fix that. I think. Screw it. Close that. Boom. Let's go back to... So, yeah, I kind of had that more isolated, but for some reason it's panned way over. I have no idea why it changed that crop. I restarted my computer. Something was crashing. The audio wasn't working right before the stream. So I was fighting with that, which is why that echo and stuff was coming up. But also why it kind of frustrated the crap out of me that that it pulled the little BS that it did. But look, we powered through. Kevin's dream, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin's dream. Left black. This is what we do. Black media. I'm not gonna let the man get me down. Peep it out.
My parents showed me this chocolate-covered marshmallow tree, and I asked them what it's called in Arabic, and they said it's called Ras al-Abed.
Parents showed me this chocolate-covered marshmallow treat, and I said, what's it called? Ras al-Abed. All right.
So I said, okay, wait, here's the term in Arabic, and the English translation is... Who names a chocolate like that? So I'm sitting here...
Good question. Who does that? People who are better than... People who think they're better than those people that are enslaved. Right? Head of the slave. Why would it be just the head? Oh, because they're chopping heads off.
Staring at the chocolate, unable to look at it the same way again. My parents go, you think that's bad? You should hear the French term for it. What's the French term for it? So it turns out that the French term translates to head of...
Sheesh. How do you say that without getting canceled? How do I pronounce that?
Excuse me? And there's so many other languages that do this. Like the old terms in German were this, which meant this.
Moore's head. Let's see where we're going here.
Or this. Oh my.
Negro's kiss, huh? But look at the other spelling right there. Negaticus. Careful, careful, easy. Easy. And I'm sorry, is this from 1,000,000 years ago? Is this from before the written word? Is this from 500 years ago? This is well known. This is very, very common.
God. So then you see the term in Slovenian and think, oh, that one's different. That
Slovenians are fine because racism is just a few people. They're just being dumb. It's not everywhere. It's not all over the place.
one's okay, right? Wrong. They named them after Native Americans instead. Look at this packaging. It was in use in Colombia up until 3 years ago.
Low-key ain't mad at her.
Okay, it took the George Floyd protest for Nestle, of course it was Nestle, to decide to change things. But in my opinion, the worst term of all has to...
What he means is those terrorist riots from Black Lives Matter. Those terrorist riots that just wanted to just destroy and burn down cities. They were just burning down cities and Nestle folded.
To come from Flanders. Now, it's not called this anymore, but at one point in time, the term was this, which literally translates to this.
Good goobly woobly.
I didn't even know this was a word.
A lot of...
So, look. So, look.
All right. All right, Sandra, a judge has just granted Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis a temporary stay in her fight to avoid being deposed in her alleged lover Nathan Wade's divorce case. Wade, of course, is the special prosecutor that Willis tapped to oversee the Trump case, and the two traveled together. Calls continue for both Willis and Wade to recuse themselves from prosecuting former President Trump and his 18 co-defendants, with some of those charged calling for the case to be thrown out entirely. One of those people is the former president. Let's bring in Jonathan Turley, George Washington University law professor and a Fox News contributor. So, Jonathan.
Fani Willis, for shame. You traveled with a prosecutor. I'm afraid of what that actually means for society, that they would allow a district attorney who actually traveled with a prosecutor to prosecute the president. Man, what are we coming to?
She is not out of the woods yet in terms of this subpoena to be deposed in the Jocelyn Wade, Nathan Wade divorce case. The judge today ruled that he wants to wait for an evidentiary hearing to take place on January the 31st into the Nathan Wade divorce case, and then he'll make a decision. Which way do you think this is going to go?
Well, I think this is a logical decision by the court. He's just basically freezing the action until he gets all the evidence in front of him. But the damage is already done for Willis. And in many ways, she's really magnifying that damage with her move. She filed a motion before the court that attacked the estranged wife of her alleged lover as an adulterer and a political conspirator. It was the worst possible tact that she could have taken. I mean, she could have just said, I'm not relevant. She could have said, a deposition is not needed. And instead, she did.
It's called motive. I don't know if you ever, I mean, he's of a certain age. He's watched Matlock. When you have a charge filed against you or you have a claim brought forth against you, sometimes it's good to point out the character of the person that's bringing that claim against you. They would say, objection, Your Honor, motive. Or they would say, or let's say I have a beer can right here, and you say, I charge Kevin with being drunk on stream, and then so you said that you charge Kevin with being drunk on stream, and then it turns out that you're actually a nun, and you think that if you take a sip of alcohol, you are now being possessed by the devil, right? So what I would say is, you would make your testimony, and then I, as a lawyer, I would say objection. relevance, and they would say it's speaking to the motive of them as they're making the claim against me that I'm drunk, because everyone knows one beer doesn't make you drunk.
This full-on attack. And that only raises further questions. I mean, you have the original decision that she made, which in my view was deeply unethical, in hiring someone that she had an alleged intimate relationship with. But she
hired him and traveled with him.
Compounded that afterwards in her response. It's clear that Mr. Wade and Willis herself are undermining the case for her.
And then they low-key trying to make that man look like he's checking her out. He's standing there next to her while she's making a speech. It looks like he's reading the speech. But yeah, I see what they're doing right here. Those old tropes come out. That the old black man. Hey, you ever seen what was it, Birth of a Nation? You ever seen that clip of Birth of a Nation when that black man, of course it's the white man in blackface. The black man sees a white woman and he can't help himself. His eyes get all big, and then the Ku Klux Klan member comes up on his horse and stands in between him. It's like, and grabs him and gets him out of there to safely, to save that damsel in distress. That's the vibes I'm picking up right now. We keep catching these ne'er-do-well Negroes doing what they just can't help but do.
For her office. And so she's putting their interests ahead of the office. That's the very thing that conflict of interest rules are meant to avoid.
So I had to look at the motion that she filed with the court. She does, at a couple of points in the motion, say that she is not relevant to the divorce case because she alleges it was an affair that Jocelyn Wade had with one of Nathan Wade's friends that irretrievably.
None of this matters. None of this matters. It's a tit for tat in a divorce case. None of this matters.
Broke the marriage, but she also says, to your point, that Jocelyn Wade is part of a conspiracy with the Trump organization to go after her, and they're using Discovery as a vehicle to harass her. Now, when you take a look at it at the Big Bethel AME Church the other Sunday, she claimed this was all about racism. Now she's saying it's a big Trump conspiracy. So which is it?
Right. And my point is that she should have just ended where she began in that motion and just say, I'm not relevant. I'll do what you ask me to do, but what I have to share is not going to be material to the outcome of this case. And instead, she went to this conspiratorial argument, and she's called anyone raising these questions racist. Well, there are experts on both the left and the right who've said that she and Wade should recuse themselves. And in many ways, it's ironic, right? She accused Trump of not listening to the legal experts about the law and the election. She's doing...
Okay, so now let's discern between the reasoning behind people saying that that Fani Willis and Nathan Wade should recuse themselves versus the reasons that... Let's discern between the reasons why Democrats and Republicans would say the same thing in this case. Republicans would say, look, she's of ill repute. She's got no morals. She's having a fling with a guy that she hired. She's throwing DA money into his pocket, and he's flying them around to Miami. Probably went to resorts and had illicit relations. Ooh. I'm gonna stop right there. If I was off stream, I had some other stuff to say. But versus the Democrats, they're saying we probably need to go ahead and recuse so that we don't have the air of conflict, so that we have the complete moral high ground, so that we have no way that anyone can try to talk smack about what we're about to drop on these boys. All right, and I liken this to when Al Franken was canceled and kicked out from the Senate. Was it the Senate or the Congress? Wherever he was, he lost his seat due to his dirty humor. Look, inappropriate, yes. Unethical, yes. Bad, pretty much, yes. Worthy of stepping down and ruining the balance and also giving a W to the opposite side? No, not at all. But what did the Democrats want? They wanted purity. They wanted to be of the upper echelon. And what has that gotten us? And think about this in your regular life. You know, look, I'm a divorcee. Being the bigger person in many cases makes you the victim. You know, you're being the bigger person. You're not going to throw dirt on the other side because that's beneath you and whatnot, right? But while you're doing that, they're throwing that dirt. They're throwing dirt on that side. You're thinking it's all good. You're acting like it's all good. And you should know better. You know better. But this is what we do as Democrats. We won't fight dirty. And I'm not saying, hey, let's go fight dirty. All I'm saying is sometimes being the bigger person is a losing strategy. Sometimes you got to get down in the dirt, and you don't necessarily fight fire with fire, but maybe you fight fire with dirt.
The same thing. I mean, you have an overwhelming view that this conflict of interest is undermining the case. Whenever that view comes to the forefront, most prosecutors would say, all right, I need to take myself out of this equation to protect the interest of my office. Instead, she's calling everyone racists and political conspirators, which is not helping her case.
So the judge has ordered that the record in the divorce case can be unsealed. And we know that Jocelyn Wade, Nathan Wade's estranged wife, has submitted in her filing to the court bank records which show Nathan Wade bought plane tickets for both him and Fani Willis to various locations. Now,
I got to stop you right there. When they looked into Mitt Romney, when they look into Mitch McConnell, when they look into any mainstream Republican and they actually go through finances, these guys are doing everything. Everything. This lady flew to Miami from Georgia. Stop. They didn't even notice they didn't talk about how much that ticket cost. It might have been a Spirit flight. It might have been $68 while they were over here playing. They took some flights, okay? But these people are making six figures, okay? Taking flights is not a big deal. I haven't made six figures in a long time, and still, a flight ain't nothing. I've bought tickets for people. I've had tickets bought for me. Calm down, right? That does not an affair make. You know, were they bumping uglies? Maybe, possibly. I wouldn't put it past anybody, right? People of all ages and all demographics, you know, break down and break vows. And also, if you're going through a horrible divorce, who knows how long you've been separated. They might on both sides, from what I just heard them say here on Objective Fox News channel, right? They're so objective, correct? They said that there was an affair on the other side of that marriage as well. So if they've both been seeing other people, maybe this only matters to the politicos, and it doesn't matter in the divorce itself. It's not an actual breaking of the vows as they're already broken apart. If that's the case, I don't care. Well, hashtag I don't care anyway. I just don't care. Then let's talk about what this means when it comes to a conflict in the DA's case against Trump. That completely loses. If there's a conflict, you have to explain how the conflict is made. These are two prosecutors having an illicit affair. If they are, let's assume the worst, right? They're bumping uglies daily, day and night, unstoppable, insatiable, acrobatic even, backflips, hanging from the ceiling fan, right? Breaking a sweat, scaring off the dog and the cat, waking the neighbors. They call the cops. Neighbors know their name, right? What does that do to the case? What is that doing to the case? Is that how they're coming up with different prosecuting guidelines? Is that how they're coming up with different evidence? I think we've actually forgotten what this entire case was about. So I just want to play that so we can see exactly what this case was about.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
Mr. Secretary, was the president here asking you for exactly what he wanted? One more vote than his opponent.
What I knew is that we didn't have any votes to find. We had to continue to look. We investigated, like I just shared the numbers with you. There were no votes to find. That was an accurate count that had been certified. And as our general counsel said, there was no shredding of ballots.
Mr. Secretary, after making this request, the president then goes back to the danger of having you deny these allegations of fraud. Let's listen to that part of the clip.
And I watched you this morning, and you said, well, there was no criminality, but I mean, all of this stuff is very dangerous stuff. When you talk about no criminality, I think it's very dangerous for you to say that.
Secretary Raffensperger, you wrote about this in your book, and you said, quote, I felt then and still believe today that this was a threat. Others obviously thought so too, because some of Trump's more radical followers have responded as if it was their duty to carry out this threat. Please tell us what you, your wife, even your daughter-in-law experienced regarding threats from Trump's more radical followers.
I'm not even going to go any further. What this entire case is about is the President of the United States calling the Secretary of State of Georgia during the counting of his election votes in which he lost the state and telling him to, quote, find more votes. That right there is illegal, highly illegal. Unfortunately for him, it was recorded digitally, very clear, high definition audio. That's open and shut. The only reason why this is being drawn out and dragged all up and down the street is because it's the President of the United States, and he is one to make political hay of anything brought against him. And also the entire, as he just brought up right now, the cult of personality that is willing to do his bidding, whether he says it explicitly or infers it. So, bro, you busted. It's recorded. Just like the call to Ukraine, where you're holding their military aid for ransom. Same thing. You just busted, and you should have been impeached. You should have been convicted. It's just the cult of personality again, and too many of your political allies afraid of the political consequences of voting their conscience. And in this case, you know, it's just the only thing is as powerful as you are, even outside of the office. You know, the cult of personality, in the amount of businesses, and that's something that the Democrats don't talk about very much, because this Democrat Party is a very corporatist party. Trump is backed by corporate donors also. So if you look at a Trump policy, usually it's written by CEOs, CFOs, and multi-billionaires in major industries such as oil and entertainment and whatnot, in the military. These are not personal Trump policies. These, and then also a couple, you just throw a little red meat to the racist people, throw a little bit of red meat to the Ku Klux Klan, throw a little red meat to the people that hate black, brown, gay, Latino, promiscuous. Throw a little red meat out there to a few evangelicals. Throw some red meat, and then hurry back and grovel before your corporate donors, right? So he's representing his corporations when he's doing these political moves. So he's got a lot of very wealthy people backing him, and he's had them for a long time, since way back in the 90s when he was, you know, laundering money for the Russian mob, for the Russian oligarchy. So this isn't that complex. I have no idea why people are trying to act like there's all this web of information we have to decipher. No, it's rich people looking out for rich people, and especially looking out for the rich people that will do their particular bidding. Trump has said, if he's supported Democrats financially for decades, and then he said he supported Democratic candidates, and then he said, if I was going to run for president, I'd run as a Republican because their voters will believe anything. And what did he do? He ran as a Republican, and he lied. I do this all the time, but I'm not going to produce any receipts of this episode. This is a live stream. I don't have no time. But still, it's pretty open and shut, guys. It's pretty open and shut. I don't even understand why everyone's, trying to go back and forth about it. He's busted. And that's really, they should just keep on playing this tape over and over again. That's why I wanted to bring it back, and I'll play it again.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,007.
He's ordering an election win right there. That's the president calling the Secretary of State saying, I just want to find 11,780 votes. He gave a number. It was very specific. He made a SMART goal. It was specific. It was measurable. Attainable. If that was Lindsey Graham. Jesus Christ. Reasonable if the R would be Republican and time sensitive. Yeah, I need it by January 20th. Or is it no, by January 6th? By January 6th. And then if you don't get it, you'll bring a mob and you'll bring a gallows and you'll put death threats to your enemies or your allies turned enemies because they wouldn't do your complete bidding. So yeah, this is a no-brainer. Anyway, it takes a black woman prosecuting the president in a no-brainer to all of a sudden be caught up for taking flights. Have you looked at the flight? Have you looked at the flight records for any of these other prosecutors? Let me just be a jerk for a second, man. When I lived in Aurora, Colorado, I was very closely connected to Jason Crow, the congressman. Been on my previous podcast before. Interviewed him a few times. I have him in my cell phone. Could call him. He would pick up. Could text him. He would respond. Maybe it may take a while when he's in session and whatnot. When he's busy, when there's a lot of stuff popping off in the country. But I have some sort of a cordial relationship with him, even though it was a little bit rocky. But I have dealings with a few people, right? That man was an impeachment counselor, right? He was leading the charge against Donald Trump for a while. He got a divorce. Apparently, he was having an affair with another congressperson from Texas. I haven't looked into it if I got some details wrong. Apparently, there was some sort of an affair with another congressperson. I think it was from Texas. I may have a few details wrong. I don't know. Because I really don't. I don't care about marital stuff. It has nothing to do with the politics. If it didn't change his prosecutorial strategy, it didn't change the laws that he said that Trump broke or anything like that. They were going by the law in the quotes in the video, in the audio recordings, right? So why are they not saying that he should not have been allowed to be an impeachment counselor? Now looking at the illicit goings on behind closed doors of this member of Congress, we need to go back and annul the impeachment. Now the impeachment should have never have happened. It should be stricken from the record. Right? I don't know if there's that mechanism, but I'm just saying that's about how much this makes sense to say that she's sleeping with a prosecutor. She's a prosecutor sleeping with a prosecutor. Now, if she was sleeping with a member of Trump's legal team, hey, we got to talk. We got to chop it up. There's a problem here. There's a huge problem. That's problematic. This right here, sorry, it's unethical, but it's not problematic to the case. Even if she gets pulled off, the case should still go on. Even if they're both pulled off, the case should go on, and it shouldn't change the outcome of the case. This is a way to win. And look, Trump is playing chess. He is playing chess. He's not playing checkers. This is looking for a win in the court of public opinion when you have no chance in court. So look, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I think I've said enough. My voice is getting hoarse really fast. I need to drink some water and not beer. No more Juicy Haze IPA. I've only had one. This has been past due. I've been holding on to these clips for a few days, and look, guys, this is going to be a more regular occasion that I go live. I'm going to be dropping videos more often. Hopefully, going to get close to 2 or 3 days a week. Going live with you guys, and also still be able to drop some recorded content so I can polish it up before it drops. If not, please check me out on all my other channels, man. I got KC Trucking 101, where I talk I do trucking content, talk about the industry, talk about crashes, good driving, just everything to do with trucking. And you know, people want to know about the career. People want to know about the future of the industry and where it's going, where it's been, what it's looking like right now. And I'm going to be having people on that are out here in these streets with a K, streets. I don't know. Let me think. What else? I got another podcast I want to drop. I gotta wait till I get this pretty regular. But what else we got going on? That's about it, man. I'm just going to sign off. Kevin Cox, everybody. This has been another episode of Left Black live stream. Thanks for bearing with me. Sorry about that. The sound, the echoing. Catch you next time. What happened again? Peace.